Hi everyone, this is Jo from Pole Stitches. I'm not very prolific when it comes to videos. I just like to say things when they sort of crop up. So after reading some comments on one of my groups a couple of weeks ago about the dreaded subject of French knots, I was dying to interject and say I've got a handy tip. But the best way to do it, I think, is to do a video about it. So today we're going to do the dreaded French knot, and we're also going to do the very handy pinhead stitch. And then I've got a few tempting tasters of things I'm just about to put on Etsy. But without further ado, let's get started with, that dreaded French knot. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit. So hopefully you can all see me. On the hoop is a lovely bit of pink pearl. It's an opalescent 28 count. I've got a size 26 needle. Of course, it doesn't really matter what size needle you have. To do a French knot, even if you work in hand, when you come to the French knot, pop it on a frame, nice tight tension on the frame. As many of you know, and I've mentioned before, I do work in hand, so I only use my frame when I'm doing French knots. So first off, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to do a way knot, which is where you do a knot there and then you come up wherever you want to be. I'm just wondering if because I'm left-handed, I don't want to tip it away from the camera. So we're going to pretend that now is my French knot on my particular chart. So this is the tip. This finger is very important. I hope my nails won't distract too much. You wrap twice around the needle or whatever your pattern says, holding your thread all the time in that finger there. And then you swap over, and if you can see, this finger is going down on the thread. You pop your needle back in. At no point do you ever lift your finger here from that thread. You lift your hoop gently up and slowly, there is no rush here. You pull your thread through. Now, I've taught this in class. Never move your finger far away. Only move it if you have to. There you are. One perfect French knot. Now, the knack of it is to get them all the same size. Now, we're going to have a go, but you know what it's like. On camera, are we going to do it? So let's move down a bit. I normally work with a magnifier, so here I am, no magnifier. There we go. Round the needle twice. Back in from where you came. Remember the important finger on the thread. Lift it up gently and pull your needle through. Always keep your hoop in contact with the table. There you go. Look, gently and slowly. No rush here. That you see the knot is not moving off the fabric because of that finger. Leave it go at last minute. Are they the same size? Yes. Success. One more time for doubters. You can do it, ladies. Come on. I've never had a failure in class. People, they're so scared of these little knots. Round the needle twice. Finger on the fabric. Keep that thread quite taut. Lift your hoop up, balance it on the table, gently pull it through. Now there's no rush, and that's the tip. No rush, and that finger does not move unless it has to. And what it's doing is it's keeping the tension. I'm hoping right now that I've managed to stay in camera with every one of these. There we go. Perfect. I hope you got that. I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going to check you did. I'll see you in a minute. Right then, well, I managed to stay in camera most of the time. I will get better at these videos, but the one thing I noticed, my hands are clean, but I was dyeing this morning. This isn't dirt, it's dye. And no matter what I do wear gloves all the time, but you'll have to forgive me. I do get some dye on there. So, next thing is the pinhead stitch. It's great to keep your reverse nice and tidy. And this is great for confetti stitches, though I use it all the time. I use the loop start, which is where you take your two ends together and then you start and you loop it through the reverse. That's how I start. But the finish, I'll tell you. So let's do the pinhead stitch to start. So imagine you've got your 8 holes, or you're on even weave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can't count today. Or 4 holes on Aida. And basically the theory is, in the middle 3 lines of holes, you're going to come up and you're going to go down the middle, and then you're going to come up the other side and go down in the middle, and then you're going to cross stitch over the top. Believe it or not, you then can cut it off on the back. So here we go. Let me check we're in focus. Yes, right. So we're going to come up one side, flip it over, keep your thread between those 2 fingers. You want a good length to keep as a tail. Then go back down in the middle. I've still got my thread in those 2 fingers. So I've done a tiny weeny stitch. As you can see, can you see? Yes. Yes. And then on the other middle stitch, we're going to come up and we're going to go back into the middle. There. Now, it's not so important that you've got that stitch on the back now. So you've got 2 tiny stitches now. If I flip it over, you can see what's happened at the back. There's the tail. And there's your thread. So what you then do is cross stitch over the top. Bottom left. Top right. Bottom right. Lay it like a railway track if you want to be really good, and railroad the top leg, which means you go through the 2 pieces of cotton and back down. There. And that will, another handy tip for keeping your top 2 legs nice and straight. There you are. Now what you do is you turn your hoop over and you give that tail a good tug. And what that does is tightens those little stitches on the back, gives that a tug, and then, believe it or not, you don't snip the main thread, you snip the tail, pop that in the bin, and there you are. A beautiful, neat start. Now, let's turn the cells back over, because I bet you're saying to yourself, but how do you finish? Well, let's move that pesky bit of fabric out the way. Let's do the stitch along from it. We'll miss 1 stitch. So, got glasses on, no magnifier. Oh, there. Right. Bottom left. Top right is the correct order. Bottom right. Railroad that last leg there, because no matter how good you are, threads get twisted. but never railroad halfway through a project, because you can tell the difference. So there we are. We've now got 2 stitches. We're going to flip back over and show what it looks like on the back. There is no stray ends or threading through. Now what you do is exactly the same as you did to start. You go in the side there, but the difference is I've got a bit of fluff there, come out. You now go under the stitch, guess where the middle is, hopefully you'll get it, and go back in, and then you do the other side. Brilliant for confetti stitches. Nope, not in it. There you are. I don't often work with opal, to be honest. I'm a bit of a 32 count with a magnifier. There we are. Lovely 2 stitches on the top. Turn it over. You can now snip that off and it stays in place. So there you are. Beautiful. And 2 secure stitches. If you're entering a competition, some people feel that you shouldn't do the pinhead stitch if you're entering a competition. I always think do what you feel is best. It depends whether you think you can see those, but if in competition, you might want to stay safe. Right then, so there's our 2 stitches, the French knot and the pinhead. I'm just bringing it quite close to the camera so you can look at those pinhead stitches for yourself. This is a 28 count opal Lugana and the French knots. Be brave is my message. A little bit of practice, you'll have it down to an absolute perfection. So I thought now, I had a few comments on my last video that it's lovely to see the fabrics. Today I did dye a big batch of crushed apple because I had a lady that wants to stitch a chatelaine, and she asked me if I would do, let's zoom you out, if I would do a piece of crushed apple for her on 28 count Lugana, and here it is. It's a 30 by 30. It's going to look lovely, isn't it? So that's all ready to leave for its new home. While I was at it, I had somebody that wanted a piece of 32 count doing. It's great to show it as a comparison. You have to remember the 32 count is more variated, and it takes it differently and can be more vibrant than the 28 count. So that's the 32 count. There'll be a 32, I never dye in single pieces. There'll be a 32 count over leaving for Etsy and a 28 count, one of each there. 32 count on the top, opposed to, you can see the colour difference there. The 28 count is a bit rougher to touch, but it's lovely to see the comparison between the 2 fabrics. 2 pieces of opalescent Lugana going onto Etsy. Not the black thread that's travelled in with them. There we are. Just trying to satisfy the Etsy girls, especially the opal Luganas. I keep saying every week, I'm trying to stock it up, but it never gets stocked up because as soon as I put it on, it's gone. But what I did want to do is I'm now trying to stock up for the Ada ladies. Not everybody can stitch on Lugana and Opal. I think that's absolutely fine. You do what you feel is happy about, and I try to cater to make both types of stitches happy. But what I really did want to show you was the difference between the Aida and the Lugana. The Aida at present, and has done for a number of years, dyes darker than the Luganas. And that's due to the cotton content in the fabric. That cotton content in the fabric grabs the dye molecules, and that's what it's about. So obviously Aida has a higher cotton content than the natural fibre in the Luganas, and that grabs the molecules. Fabrics love red. They are bigger molecule, the red dye, and has lots more sort of catches on the outside. But unfortunately, the effect that has is it doesn't travel through the fabric so well, and therefore it is very difficult to get a true red. So if you notice, to get an actual block red of fabric is very, very difficult. So that's the theory behind the reds, really. So behind here we've also got some Luganas. I know lots of people love the Dawn Chorus, sell it by the bucketful. And here's some 28 counts, they're heading to Etsy. That 32 count has a home. Somebody's waiting for that. They're so pretty, aren't they? I mean, it's just such a gentle sky for all your angels and your fairies and ladies, to be honest. Anything goes on Dawn Chorus. We do manipulate the dye to make it light for that one. Now hidden behind here is some colourful clouds, which I don't often show. But here we go. This is a 32 count opal with a thread hanging in it. The 32 count opal dyes beautifully. It dyes darker than the 28 count. And it takes the dye absolutely lovely. It's quite a tight weave though. As you know, and I've said a couple of times, I only use opal when I want an effect, like for a mermaid. Some people stitch on it all the time. Those other pieces are 28 heading to Etsy. So, last and not least, I thought I'd give you an update on my Woodland Goddess. Do you know what? Boxes and sales went on last month, and my poor Woodland Goddess suffered greatly. But we've got her first flower. I'll whip over here and get the patterns. You can see where I am. Hopefully on the next update I'll be a bit further. So you can see where I am. I'm on the top bit here. On the top bit here. And the middle bit there. And the first flower you can see. So hopefully I've been getting up really early and having an hour's stitching every morning. So hopefully my 5 a.m. Stitching routine will carry on, and I'll get a bit done this month. So I'll let you know how I get on with her. But the colours are looking fabulous on the Atlantic. Anyway, have a lovely weekend. It's bank holiday weekend. The sale is on Etsy, and these pieces will be loaded by the time I upload this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to follow, and I'll see you next time. Bye.